Tonight on Elon Local News.
I'm no longer going to be doing something that I started doing when I was a little girl.
Words of wisdom. We hear from soccer legend Carly Lloyd on her retirement and advice for younger athletes.
Ready to run. ENN's Election Center is back. And tonight we're talking to hopefuls for the Elon Board of Aldermen.
And culturally connected, citizens in Graham are all smiles as Hispanic heritage celebrations continue.
All that and more.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Well, good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Baylor Rodman.
And I'm Chloe Franklin. We begin tonight with an update on the coronavirus in Alamance County. Hospitals nationwide are facing staff shortages and COVID-19 cases daily, including the one closest to our campus. Our Anne-Marie Bonner was live from Alamance Regional Medical Center with more.
Thanks, Baylor and Chloe. I'm standing here just outside of the emergency department where COVID-19 is continuing to affect doctors and nurses. Dr. David Jordan says that even though cases in their hospital aren't at record highs or lows, that doesn't mean they're in the clear just yet. He expects to see similar numbers until February.
That's a long time to wait. And part of that will be because more people are becoming vaccinated. But it does tax the healthcare system. It's as if there's something that everyone could do if they were willing that could really limit the numbers of hospitalizations.
According to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, just over half of eligible adults in Alamance County are fully vaccinated. Cone Health reports that nearly 90% of those hospitalized with COVID-19 system-wide are unvaccinated. A representative for the state health department was not available for an on-camera interview, but the department says, quote, "Everyone should layer up protection to fight this more contagious Delta variant and weather the storm. Vax up, mask up, and urge others to do the same." Jordan says the symptoms he sees in unvaccinated people are much worse, and that people ages 18 to 24 in Alamance County are not getting vaccinated.
We're really trying to redouble our efforts and recommendations to vaccinate younger people. And, I was young once and I remember I didn't think I'd ever be sick, but you don't have to get sick but a few times to realize it does happen.
I asked to speak to a nurse who is experiencing these issues firsthand, but they declined my request. From Alamance Regional Medical Center, Anne-Marie Bonner, Elon Local News.
Anne-Marie, thank you.
Today, President Biden received his COVID-19 booster shot provided by Pfizer. Per the CDC, those eligible for the booster include people over the age of 65, frontline workers, adults in high-risk living settings, and adults with underlying health conditions 6 months after their second Pfizer shot. The president continued to urge the unvaccinated to get the shot, saying the U.S. has the resources to beat this virus.
We need to get folks vaccinated. So please do the right thing. Please get the shots, and it can save your life. It can save the lives of those around you.
The Biden administration has ramped up its efforts, pushing the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, to require companies with at least 100 employees to be fully vaccinated or be tested weekly. Elon is under OSHA's jurisdiction, and Chief Human Resources Officer Kelly Schumann says the university still stands by for direction from the government on whether or not to require faculty and staff to get the vaccine.
As Elon continues to cope with the death of freshman Will Stoneman, University chaplain and Reverend Kristen Boswell says students should sit with the uncomfortable emotions, even though it may be painful.
You have to be comfortable, become more comfortable with sitting with grief, with allowing grief to come in, to come in and then almost recede. If you think about, the waves in an ocean. Coming in and then receding, and knowing that we'll still be okay even in the midst of that.
Boswell also recommends taking advantage of counseling services, the Truett Center, and mentors on campus.
This family weekend, Elon News Network sat down with convocation speaker Carly Lloyd. She plays soccer on the U.S. women's national team and recently announced she would be retiring from professional soccer. As part of the Stronger Than You Think mental wellness campaign, Lloyd says mental health is all about perspective.
whatever comes my way, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not fearing it. I'm accepting it. And I just, roll with the punches and get on with it. With COVID and with so many other things, I mean, there's a lot of things we all can't control. So it's important to kind of retrain your mind to just find a way no matter what. And I think that's what I've kind of tailored my career to be about.
We also talked to Lloyd about a range of topics, including her upcoming retirement and what's next for the soccer legend. We'll be hearing from her more throughout the show, so stay tuned.
Campaign signs are popping up around Elon, marking the start of election season, and both the mayor of Elon and 2 seats on the Board of Aldermen are up for election in November. Elon Mayor Jerry Trolley announced after 38 years of service he will not be seeking re-election this fall. The 2 hopefuls now running for the position are Alderwoman Emily Sharp and resident Michael Woods. The Board of Aldermen will also face a shift in members as 2 of the 6 seats are open this fall. The candidates are Elon University staff member Stephanie Borland and Elon Community Church senior pastor Randy Orwig, and we'll sit down with both of them in just a minute. In our neighboring city of Burlington, there are 2 seats open this fall on the city council. Incumbent Harold Owens is running for re-election, as is former Alamance County Commissioner Bob Byrd, former Mayor of Burlington Ronnie Wall, Assistant Quality Assurance Manager Charlie Beasley, retired Burlington Police Sergeant Wendy Jordan, and Cone Health Patient Specialist Dewana Bigelow. Finally, Burlington's mayoral race includes incumbent Ian Ball-Tudis, Loa Funeral Home and Crematory Funeral Director Caleb Massey, Associate Pastor Donna Van Hook, City Councilman Jim Butler, and community member Walter Boyd. Both the Burlington mayoral and city council races will have a primary on October 5th, where half the candidates from each race will be chosen to move on to the general election in November.
And with us tonight are the candidates running for the Elon Board of Aldermen, Stephanie Borland, who's the Associate Director for Corporate and Employer Relations here in the School of Communications, and Randy Orwig, who is the Senior Pastor at Elon Community Church. Thank you so much for joining us live here in studio.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So the election is on November the 2nd. You both are running for the 2 open, uncontested seats. So it's election day, but it sounds like it's going to be pretty safe to me. You've said that that it has been actually sort of rewarding to run an uncontested race because you've been able to connect with members of the community and hear about the changes that they really want to see happen. So what are those changes? I'll start with you.
Well, and we get to have coffee together right across the street. Exactly. So it's a lot of fun rather than being a tough race. It's a lot of fun. I think one of the things that people are talking about is affordability, water bills, inclusivity is one of the things that I'm really important to me, as well as safety. I mean, Elon is the 4th safest town in the state of North Carolina, and we'd love to keep it that way. So those are some of the things that I've been hearing from folks.
Absolutely. Randy, what about you?
Well, once again, I think the fact that we're unopposed gives us the chance then to get out and really look at different neighborhoods and different areas. I want to really focus on listening and see where people really are feeling any kind of needs that need to be there. But water is probably our biggest one, and Stephanie and I have talked about that. There's even, again, an outside chance that we could try to develop a regional water authority, which would be fantastic for the area. That might create some leadership, and I'd like to be there to help with that.
Yeah, and so is that sort of unusual that water is such an important issue for towns and municipalities? Or I guess, that's something that for students who are here, they're not really thinking about the water, right? It's coming right out of the faucet, and they don't really give it a second thought. So I guess that's just interesting too, I think, from the student perspective, don't you think?
Well, it's one of those things where we don't get our water from Elon, we get it from Burlington, so we're sort of at the mercy of whatever bills they want to charge us for. And there have been changes that are being made to try and reduce that amount. But, like we've said, it's one of those things where we're going to continue to work on it, hopefully together.
Absolutely.
and then we will be able to try and get those water bills to go down.
Sure, so neither of you have held a public office here in the town of Elon. So do you think it's sort of rewarding to bring that outsider's perspective in terms of the Board of Aldermen?
Well, I've been involved with the aldermen for a lot of years. As pastor of Elon Community Church, we've been involved in a lot of different issues, and it's brought us there. our space is right next to the downtown area, and there's a lot of work on green space and emphasis on that. And we have one of the main green spaces in the downtown area.
Sure.
So we're working with them on that. So even though I will be sitting in a chair behind the desk, I've been on the other side of the desk quite a bit. So.
Sure. All right, well, we're going to pause right there. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have more from our Board of Alderman candidates right after the break. Stay close.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
And I'm joined once again by Stephanie Borland and Randy Orwig, who are running for our 2 open seats on the Board of Aldermen. Thanks for sticking with us through the break.
No problem.
So I want to talk a little bit about student issues, and obviously students, faculty, and staff who are registered in this area can all vote in this election. And so, what are some of the things that you want to be sure to do for them?
Well, I think, sometimes people talk about town and gown, and I think when I was not a part of Elon, I've been a part of Elon University for 4 years now, people don't have an understanding of how bright, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here on ENN, but how bright, hardworking the students are. But I think one thing that they could add to it is to come out and vote, because for 4 years, this is your town. Yeah. And so you have a voice in what's going on here. You might move on, but you might only be there for 2 years or so. So let's have a voice in what is actually happening here. So come out and vote.
Sure. Randy?
Well, that's a big thing with us running unopposed. You can vote for both of us, and that's okay. And we know that we think, well, why should I come out for an unopposed election? Well, our mayoral race is also has an opposition, yes. So there will be a need to have a vote turnout for that. The other thing is that, there's a lot of like water bills and other things that you have to deal with in a small town like this. But there are some issues that from time to time come up.
And I know, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I know one of those is, and I know that you've talked about this a lot as well, has been kind of revitalizing the downtown area. And so what do you both really want to do for that during your time on the board?
Well, I think supporting the local businesses that are already here is the most important thing. I mean, we try, and I know that we eat lunch right downtown. We get our coffee here, so that's an important part of it. But also making sure that anything that grows is in a good strategic way of growing, because this town has remained Elon and special because of the way that it has grown along with the university. So I think that's an important part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the vision of the town is that we want to be a unique place, and we want to help create that. But again, back to one of those issues was the non-discrimination ordinance that we were able to consider prior to our being there. And that was one of those things that really brought out student participation. The Student Council, Student Government Association have voted, wanted it to go through, and it didn't. So my hope is we can revisit that when we come on board. Because I think we want to make sure that even though we consider Elon a safe place, we want it to be safe for everybody. And we want people to feel that sense of safety, especially our students.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Randy Orwig, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. And you know, after November, we'd love to have you back and talk about what's going on, you know, and what you're able to bring to the board. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. All right. And so I'm looking over here now. Thanks for joining us, and for all the information about Elon and Burlington elections, you can visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com. Voting for the Board of Aldermen is set to take place on Election Day, November the 2nd. Both early and by-mail voting are accepted. Students, faculty, and staff and residents who are registered to vote in the town of Elon are eligible to vote in this election. And as they said, while their race is uncontested, the mayoral race is not. So be sure to head out and vote.
Soccer star Carly Lloyd recently announced she plans to retire from the U.S. women's national team next month. She told Elon News Network in her last months with the team she is just enjoying the moment.
It's crazy to kind of get to this point, the tail end, where you're hanging up your boots, and I'm no longer going to be doing something that I started doing when I was a little girl. So it's a little bittersweet, but I am looking forward to kind of the next chapter. I just feel like everything's kind of come full circle, and I feel very at peace and just content with everything that I've given over the last 16 years, and you know, just kind of soaking up these last remainder of the games that I have.
Lloyd has 2 more matches to play with the U.S. team in October, and will also soon finish out her professional club career with New York, New Jersey Gotham Football Club.
This Saturday, marches across the country will take place to protest recent laws regarding women's reproductive rights. The marches hope to send a message to the Supreme Court, which will reconvene on October the 4th. Sophomore Molly Reed is a member of Elon's chapter of I Am That Girl, a national nonprofit that is meant to provide a safe conversation space for women. She says she's organizing a group to attend the march in Durham this weekend, but wants to start one on campus as well.
Like, the marches themselves are like an act of force, and it kind of just shows how big the population is and how many women are being affected by these stereotypes.
The Women's March in Durham is set for this Saturday at CCB Plaza at 1 p.m.
This Wednesday, Elon Dining and the Student Union Board are hosting their annual Food Truck Frenzy event in the Corey Gym parking lot from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. 10 local food trucks will be available for students to choose from, and there will be live music as well. All events accept meal dollars, food dollars, and Phoenix Cash, as well as cash and credit. Tickets can also be purchased ahead of time today and tomorrow at any dining hall.
Coming up, an Elon student's joy seeing herself represented.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Desert Sea Race. Love is love.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare to do something different? Like be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget. That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself? What are you gonna make of me?
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Well, joining us now for the week's weather ahead is our Haley Phelps with your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Haley, good evening to you.
Thank you, Baylor and Chloe. We have definitely seen the beautiful weather from family weekend continue into today, but as we head into the evening, we will start to experience some of those slightly cooler temperatures. Let's take a look now at your Phoenix 5-day forecast. We will have slightly sunny skies for the first half of the week with highs in the 80s, making for great weather on Thursday for the men's home soccer game, but moving into Friday, we will start to have some of those slightly cooler faller temperatures with a high of 76 and a low of 49 degrees. And to end off the week on Saturday, we will have a high of 78, making for great weather for a weekend hike with your friends. Now, back to you at the desk.
All right, Haley Phelps with our Phoenix 5-day. Thank you so much. The Gender and LGBTQIA Center on campus continues to hold events for Elon's queer community. In celebration of bisexual visibility, students were invited to the Bi Scream social. First-year student Belle Stevens says she is grateful the GLC is holding events for queer students.
As a bi person, something like this someday that we have for visibility, because in the LGBTQ plus community, even bi people are kind of misrepresented and misunderstood. So events like these are so crucial to spreading awareness.
To access the GLC and its resources, go to elon.edu/u/GLC/: or visit their office in Mosley 211.
And this week is Supporting Survivors Week. The GLC and other campus organizations will be hosting events to support survivors of sexual and relationship violence. Tonight at 7 p.m. in Arazu, there will be an open mic night for survivors to perform songs or poems within the theme of gender-based violence. Tomorrow, students can attend consensual cupcakes to learn about consent. And Thursday, the annual Take Back the Night will let students share their personal stories with other survivors, as well as late-night Sex EU trivia.
As soccer star Carly Lloyd prepares to hang up her cleats and retire next month, she told Elon News Network she's excited for the next stage of her life and career.
Soccer's been my #1 passion, my first love, and I've been doing it for 34 years, and so now I'm at this point where I'm not going to be doing it anymore. It's been so fun for my friends and family over the years. They're tailgating at my games. They're getting together and they're having all these celebrations. And I've always been the one playing and I haven't been the one being able to partake in that. So I think it's going to be great to now transition into this next phase.
We'll have final thoughts from Lloyd after the break.
And I'll be covering some Elon football action coming up after the break as well.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
Whether it's a short trip or a long haul.
Estimated time, 47 hours.
They will beg.
You're hungry? I'm happy to provide.
They will plead.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
But whatever you do, Don't wimp out.
Now you're talking.
Make them buckle up.
He can't hurt.
Remember, safety first. Cheese curls second.
Are you orange?
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before soccer legend Carly Lloyd spoke to Elon families during fall convocation, she shared some advice for the young athletes.
Life goes by so fast, especially after you finish college. And everybody says it, they're like, cherish your youth days, because once you get out of college, life just moves at a rapid pace. And I think that, I look back and I wish that I enjoyed the process and a little bit more, enjoyed the journey, kind of was more in the present moment. I think I'm finding that now towards the end of my career.
To read more from ENN's conversation with Lloyd, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
We're halfway through the fall sports season, and ENN sports correspondent Bryson Brines joins us now live to discuss what's ahead. Bryson, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no problem.
So we're officially into the conference play after Saturday's game. What can you tell us about the Richmond game next weekend?
Well, Richmond's a very good team. They're ranked in the top 25. Their only losses so far to number 7 Villanova and to Virginia Tech. Their defense is very stellar. They only allowed 14 points against VT. So it'll definitely be a very good challenge for the Elon offense this upcoming weekend.
Sure.
And I know we've been winning a lot of games by really close amounts. So do you think we can expect to beat Richmond coming up?
Absolutely, but they just need to take advantage of the offensive opportunities that we have. Against William and Mary this past weekend, there was a lot of missed opportunities we had, whether it be missed field goals or just not being able to score touchdowns while you're in the in the red zone. So it was just we just need to be able to convert offensively against Richmond.
I know there's been some narrow losses, and it's tough to take in for sure. So when's the next time they'll be at home? It's not for a while, right?
It'll be October 23rd against New Hampshire. They're also a very good team. They're currently first place in the conference right now with a 3-1 record and 2-0 in conference play. So it'll definitely be a very good game to watch.
Sure.
Definitely. And I know for the school, JMU is a huge game to go out and see. So when will that game be this year?
That'll be Halloween weekend. JMU is a very good school. They're a perennial power here in the CAA. They won the conference championship last year, and they're the favorites to do it again this season. They have a very, very good offense led by a very, very good running back. So it'll be definitely a challenge for Elon. It'll maybe be like a David versus Goliath type matchup, but they may have to win that game to get to the FCS playoffs.
All right. Well, Bryson Burns, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And this weekend, hundreds gathered in Alamance County for the first annual Hispanic Heritage Month Festival. Our Kira O'Connor has the story.
From vendors to dancers, Graham's very first Hispanic Heritage Month Festival started out with a bang. The family-friendly event, put together by Alamance Arts and Alamance Citizens for a Drug-Free Community, gave younger people, like Kevin Ochoa, a chance to celebrate their roots.
It was definitely the different stance and creativity of Hispanic culture.
Elon alumna Maria Gomez has lived in Alamance County for over 30 years, and she says the festival showcased the joy the community brings to the county.
And we just want to showcase our people, to show the diversity, to show that they are not just people that work, they have a culture, and we want to express our culture to everybody in Alamance County.
House Representative Ricky